Before a child even puts on their shoes today, they have already interacted with half a dozen complex artificial intelligence systems. A smart thermostat adjusts the temperature, the blinds open on cue, and a synthetic voice triggers a playlist designed to gently ease them awake. This technology has quietly integrated itself into the fabric of the household. For the current generation, voice-activated assistants are utility fixtures, as ordinary and expected as running water or electricity. Traditional, defense-based parenting rules are failing to keep pace with this environment. Rigid metrics like the 2-hour screen time limit treat all digital interaction as a uniform risk, a strategy that relies more on a stopwatch than an understanding of the technology. The duration of screen use matters less than the mode of engagement. There is a specific divergence between an hour spent trapped in an algorithmic dopamine loop of short videos and an hour spent using an AI coding assistant to build a mobile application. Constant interaction with these predictive systems influences how children seek information and frame their understanding of authority. The real stakes aren't found in the minutes on a clock, but in how these algorithms alter a child's cognitive development. We see this influence at the kitchen table every Sunday night. A student tasked with a 3-page essay can type a single prompt into a generative assistant and watch a structured argument materialize in seconds. This diagram illustrates the distinction between an AI scaffold and an AI shortcut. An educational scaffold supports a student as they climb, like asking a chatbot to explain photosynthesis using a soccer analogy. But the right side represents a shortcut, like hiring someone else to run a race for you. The immediate task is finished, but no learning has occurred. Intellectual capacity, like a physical muscle, atrophies when it isn't used. If the AI does the heavy lifting, the student's ability to synthesize information and think critically withers. Schools are struggling to manage this shift. Plagiarism detectors are notoriously unreliable, often generating false positives or failing to catch edited AI text, which effectively moves the burden of policing academic integrity into the home. While grades remain the primary gatekeeper for college and career opportunities, they stop reflecting genuine competency when a machine produces the work. This creates a dangerous gap. Students may graduate with high marks while lacking the foundational skills their credentials suggest they possess. Look at the structure of this classroom. These environments were designed to meet the needs of an industrial economy that valued standardized compliance and the ability to execute rote, predictable tasks. In economic terms, when a commodity becomes abundant, its market value drops. Today, basic cognitive computation and factual recall have become cheap and nearly infinite. This chart tracks the labor market shift. As the cost of data processing falls, the value of irreplaceable human skills rises. We call this upward curve the human premium. The future economy rewards traits silicon cannot replicate: empathetic leadership, divergent creativity, and complex moral reasoning. Preparing a child for this landscape requires a change in strategy. Success no longer comes from acting like a second-rate computer. It comes from fiercely cultivating a child's first-rate humanity. Developing that humanity is difficult when children rely on AI for companionship. AI assistants simulate perfect, frictionless empathy. They never lose their temper, never interrupt, and provide unconditional positive regard. But genuine emotional intelligence requires the messiness of reciprocity. Human relationships involve navigating someone else's boundaries and competing desires. Without that healthy friction, a child's ability to handle the complex give and take of the real world simply stalls out. There is a secondary vulnerability: the assumption of technological objectivity. Because a calculator is always right, children often believe that search engines and generative models are neutral truth-tellers. This warped mirror explains algorithmic bias. AI models are trained on massive internet datasets. Feeding human history into the system creates a distorted reflection that amplifies our prejudices. Furthermore, these systems frequently produce hallucinations, generating false information as fact, simply completing a mathematical pattern. When technology is both emotionally hollow and epistemically flawed, passive trust is a liability. Children must be trained to interrogate the machines they use. This interrogation builds epistemic resilience. an intellectual immune system to navigate a flood of synthetic information without losing their grasp on reality. Parents can implement the rule of three. If an AI provides a fact for a school project, the child must verify that claim using two independent, reputable sources, like a textbook or a library database, before accepting it. Teenagers need to practice lateral reading. When they encounter a claim on a social media platform, they should immediately leave the page to search for what independent sources say about the author and their incentives. We also need to push digital engagement up the tiers, away from passive consumption and toward active creation. Children should be encouraged to use AI tools to solve new problems, to write computer code, or collaborate on complex projects. These daily practices transform the child's relationship with the screen. They transition from being merely the consumers and subjects of artificial intelligence to being its creators, critics, and shapers. Cultivating the human premium requires a commitment to off-screen development. Physical craft, tactile hobbies, and the tolerance of boredom spark the divergent creativity that machines cannot simulate. At home, enforcing eye contact, authentic vulnerability, and focused conversation builds emotional attunement. This deep biological resonance is the foundation of leadership and trust building, skills that remain uniquely human. This strategy moves the parental focus toward agency. We are training builders who look at AI as a collaborative tool to shape their environment, rather than a system to be followed. The highest purpose of modern parenting is fostering the ethical judgment and empathy required to direct these systems. Fiercely protecting these human traits secures a child's fundamental autonomy in an automated world. By focusing on what cannot be coded, we ensure they grow into the leaders, creators, and thinkers the world will always need.